As Britain has borne witness to so many battles and bloodshed over the years, and there are still so many buildings surviving from that time, it hardly comes as a surprise to learn that the United Kingdom is the most haunted country in the world. Philip Hutchinson is from the Ghost Club.
Some people believe that ghosts are manifestations of the dead. Other people are certain that ghosts are no more than hallucinations, or even in the worst cases, complete fiction. Others stand in the middle, and we believe that ghosts are real, and as yet science is at a loss to explain what they might be.
Whatever they are, the ghost of the Green Lady at Crathis Castle in Scotland has been terrifying visitors for many years.
This is the Green Lady's room in Crathis Castle, said to be haunted by the figure of a young girl dressed in a green gown. At the end of the 17th, early 18th century, a young girl who was a ward of the laird had an illegitimate child. The child was stillborn. The mother died probably from birth complications. The fourth baronet had what in Scots is called a Bodhira ghost. That just means that he was traumatised because he frequently saw the Green Lady. Many years later, when the fireplace in this room needed remedial attention, when they lifted the hearth, they found a small iron casket with the skeleton of a very tiny baby in it.
The ancient Tower of London has borne witness to more bloody episodes in England's history than possibly any other building. But possibly the most eerie of all hauntings at the Tower of London is that of Margaret Pole, the Countess of Salisbury. At her execution in the 1540s, she was screaming, running around the executioner's block. Eventually she tripped and was dragged back to the block, but she struggled so much during her execution that the headsman missed on many occasions. When he did eventually hit, he didn't manage to decapitate her in one go. She was heard gurgling and crying and screaming before he eventually, on a fifth stroke, managed to chop her head clean off. And her screams have been heard on the site of the scaffold to this very day.
But not far down the Thames lies haunted Hampton Court, one of the palaces of Henry VIII and his 6 wives. It was here that some of the most volatile events of his marriages took place. The legacy of these dramas is a massive increase in ghostly activity.
Many of these ghosts connect to King Henry VIII, from Cardinal Wolsey, who was responsible for the building of Hampton Court, being seen under an archway, and also the ghosts of no less than 3 of Henry's wives. But the most famous of all is, of course, Henry's 5th wife, Queen Catherine Howard. When Catherine Howard has been seen running down the long gallery, she's only ever been seen for a fraction of a second, but her screams that rent the air have been heard prolonged on many different occasions.
In Northumberland, the towering battlements of Bamborough Castle loom over the foggy North Sea coast.
Shortly after Bamborough was rebuilt, a woman called Sylvia Calmady Hamlin was staying in one of the rooms. She woke in the early hours to see what she perceived to be a man in armour walking across the room. She then saw the man walk towards the doorway, disappeared through it, after which he disappeared out of sight. But there are other hauntings at Bamborough as well, such as the haunting of the Pink Lady.
The Pink Lady is the official ghost of Bamborough Castle. She's described as 20 years old, stunningly beautiful, with a wonderful smile, and she's called the Pink Lady because of the colour of her dress. It's reddish pink. Her father was one of the custodians sometime up to the Walls of the Roses, and as with all fathers of those days, he didn't like her boyfriend. He could do something about it, and he had him banished for about 7 years while his daughter grew up and hopefully forgot about him. 6.5 years later, she's still pining for him, and her father said that he heard that the boyfriend had got married while he was overseas, which upsets her greatly, and still weeping, she rushes up to the roof of the keep and throws herself off. The boyfriend arrived home unmarried on time, and when he asked where she was, her father said something like, "She died of the plague years ago." Not a nice dad at all.
If you visit any of these historic sites, and you find the room suddenly goes icily cold, all the noise around you suddenly disappears, you feel nauseous, the walls start closing in, or indeed if you see the apparition of somebody wearing clothing from a bygone age walking through the wall towards you, then maybe you too have had a brush with the paranormal.